Hi guys, today what we're going to be walking through is how to clean your sous vide cooker. So this is an old school Anova, what they used to call the Anova 1. It's the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi model, 800 watts, which used to be high power back in the day. So to take the casing off, you just do a simple twist and it comes right off. The new Anova models are the same way, no different, just simple twist off. You can see here, that is grimy. This needs to be cleaned. So that's why we're here. We're gonna clean it. I'm gonna walk you through how to do it. We're gonna see what the results are. We've got a good test case here to check it out. So the three things you wanna remember when you're cleaning is you're gonna use the 50-50 solution of vinegar to water. You're gonna run it for 60 minutes and it's gonna be at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So we'll run through that. We'll see what our results are. We'll compare the before and after. The other thing I should mention is after you do that 60-minute period, you're gonna run it for another 10 or 15 minutes, again at 140 degrees, just to get any gunk off that the vinegar water solution sort of loosened up. So that is sort of on the follow. You'll run it for 60 minutes plus another 10 to 15 afterwards, and then we can say, hey, how effective was this? Was it not effective enough? And if it's not, we actually have some other things we can do. So let's get started, see what happens. So I'm gonna start with the solution 50-50. Another thing is on the container, what you wanna do is use the smallest container you can. This is like, my initial thought was to use a mason jar that we have. I didn't have one that was big enough for this to fit in. This is, again, older sous vide cooker, so it's bigger than what you usually see today. That might have been part of the problem, but I've got a flour vase here. You want to use the smallest container possible, just in the sense that that way you're using less vinegar, the water heats up more quickly, so the combination of those two things makes a smaller container make a lot of sense. So do that. I'm gonna put in my solution here. I'm gonna be careful not to put too much in, because obviously this sous vide cooker will take up a lot of space, so water, add it to that. Clamp on. Set her to 140. Here we go. Well, the hour is up. We should see what we got. So I am going to turn this off. And we actually aren't gonna see what we have to do the next step, which is to dump out the water. We're gonna put new water in and run it for another 10 to 15 minutes. So a little more patience, bear with me. So again, 10 to 15 more minutes more, 140, all water, then we see what we have. Okay, now our 10 minutes is up. We're gonna check what happened for real this time to see how clean we've gotten. Now what we wanna do is turn the machine off. We'll unplug it. We should grab a clean cloth to wipe it with. So I'm gonna lift this through. Wipe it off. Twist it. And you can see that it's definitely cleaner, though it still looks like it could use some help. So what I'm gonna try and do is grab a toothbrush. I'm gonna take this off in case I want the water from here to help and aid. So I'm gonna grab a toothbrush and I'm just gonna see if brushing it does anything here. And it certainly is. Yep, that's helping quite a bit. So I can brush off. You want to be careful not to damage the impeller at all here. Honestly, this toothbrush is pretty soft, so I could use a harder one. It would do a lot of good right now, so that's probably the right thing to do, but let me see what I can get here for you guys. Look at that. So we have, it looks much better now, practically new. Honestly, if I had a new toothbrush, or I should say a stiffer toothbrush, rather than my 5-year-old daughter's very soft, discarded old toothbrush, that would have made life a little easier, but I'm very happy with the results. You should try and do this, you know, it all depends on how mineral deposit rich, if you will, your water is, where you live, but it's a good rule of thumb to try and do it every 6 months, or if you have a bag tear while you're doing a cook or leak, you want to clean it. That is probably your rule of thumb though. From a maintenance perspective, to do it every 6 months is probably good practice. More time than that had passed before I'd done this. But yeah, so there you have it. That's how you would clean it. If the stains were too stubborn, there are 2 other things we could do. You could use, rather than use a 50-50 vinegar solution, you'd run that process. If it didn't work, you'd come back, you'd use water with a little bit of dish soap and try that on the follow of the 50-50 vinegar water solution mix. And if that didn't work, you would use something like a CLR. Try not to do that, but that would be your last resort to get this looking brand spanking new. But this worked for us, just a simple 50-50 vinegar water solution. Well, I hope that helps. I hope you find this useful and you can put it to practice while you are doing your sous vide cooking and to keep your machinery good as new. Well, with that, I want to thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye now.